Let me make you the
Okay.
host, Charlie. Yeah. All right.
Sweet. We're all set?
Just about. Last but not least, I gotta make you the host, but I can do that while you're talking.
Okay. Gang, my name's Charley Phalen, as Camille mentioned. My background for you, just so you know, is I'm from Santa Fe, New Mexico, so the program is near and dear to my heart. I travel around the country, hence the hotel room behind me, and I lead clinics for adaptive programs everywhere. Tonight's clinic is on the PSIA skiing fundamentals, and if you were part of my clinic, um, what was that, like a month ago? We did sit skiing and fit up and equipment. We covered some of the fundamentals, so it might be some repeat information, but done a different way. Uh, Extra little quick background. If you have questions on alpine, adaptive, snowboard, whatever, this is a good time to try to come up with those, and we can hopefully address those as we go. Um, I see a lot of you. Some of you are older volunteers that have been around for more than a handful of years, and some of you are brand new. So with that being said, if any of the information I talk about is too much, and you're like, oh man, this is way too confusing for me, unmute yourself, say, hey, Charlie, I don't get it. Explain it again, and I'll try to explain it a different way, because that's part of what we do as this goes. Now the Zoom situation is kind of different. Normally we do these in person. The Zoom, it's you get what you get. So we're going to try to do as best as we can. I'm going to try to manage letting people in and all the tech side of things as best as I can, but know that that's not my forte, so to speak. But we'll figure it out together. So with that being said, we have the skiing fundamentals. Don't worry, you don't need to read that. You don't have to, okay? Because we're just going to talk about it. And so what I want everyone to do is I want everyone to go at we're all at our home. So we're going to take like 5 minutes, and I need you to get a couple things for me. I need you to get your ski boot if you have it. Okay, so your ski boot. I need you to get a piece of paper and a pen. So take your time. We need ski boots, a ski boot, just one, only need one, a piece of paper to write on, and a pen. Okay. Take your time, go get all that stuff, and then come back.
Okay, Charlie, while people are doing that, you should have just gotten a notification that I made you the host, yeah?
Yep.
And then what you can do so that the view is consistent on the recording would be to click maybe on yourself and say spotlight. I'm not exactly sure where that is, but that makes it where people are only seeing you pretty much.
Okay, I'm not seeing that, but let's see here.
Let's see. Like if you have 3 dots in your upper, like do it for me. So like in the upper right corner on me, do you see 3 dots in a blue square appear?
Yes, I'm seeing that. Spotlight for everyone. Yeah, there you go.
But there you go. So you spotted lighted yourself. Perfect. Okay. So I think you're good to go. I will be back. If you need me. If you need me, let me know.
Sounds good. Thank you. Okay. Is everyone back as best as we can?
Okay.
Cool. When gang, when we're doing this, if you have a question, what I would say, or if we're talking about things, is unmute yourself, as you know, unmute yourself in the corner and just kind of raise your hand and be like, hey. Because the hope with these is I try to do it so that we're not like all listening to me the whole time, but that's kind of hard to do. So we'll see. We had 19 people, so that's a lot of people to manage. Okay. So what I want you to do is we're going to see if we can do it this way. All participants share a whiteboard. Okay, cool. Screen, whiteboard. Okay, can everyone see my whiteboard? You see a white screen in front of you, correct? Cool. What I want to do is on your piece of paper, and we're going to try it. The reason I want you to grab a piece of paper is so that if this didn't work technology wise, we have a backup plan with our piece of paper. Okay. Let's see. And what I want you to do is I want everyone, as best you can, to unmute yourself so that we can have more of a conversation. Okay. Technology is going to be our friend. Let's just put all right. Now, is everyone unmuted for the most part?
Yep.
Yep.
I'm hoping that you can, and somebody, I don't know if can somebody else write on my whiteboard? I don't know if anyone else can. I might have to change the settings. There we go. Cool. Ren is drawing on the whiteboard. Cool. Perfect. Great. Awesome. Okay. Okay. Let's stop drawing on the whiteboard. It's gonna get really confusing really quick. Okay. What I want people to do is, that's awesome. Go ahead and erase what you wrote. Okay. I want you, and we're gonna create, you can write it on your paper list first, and then we can start to translate it. Okay. But I want you, and you can write it on here. If you write it on here, do me a favor and do it in the text box. Okay, so see if you can figure out how to do it in the text box. And we're just going to collaborate and make this big spider web of single words that identify or define us as ski instructors. So different skills that we need, different like physical movements that we have with our body, different things that we need for teaching. I just want like a massive list of all kinds of random words. So like I put communication. And we should just be able to start just adding a whole bunch of them. Sweet. Yeah, just keep putting them up there. The more the merrier. We'll take like I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes to just fill this whiteboard up. Yeah, there we go. Keep it up. Keep them coming. Let's fill that thing up as best as we can.
Let's see. No, I put it-
Yep, keep going. Just keep filling that up.
I don't think so. Oh, do you have a battery drawer? There's a bin in that big closet.
Keep going. There's still some empty spaces. I'm purposely not writing any. You guys have to write them all. As you're writing them, read some of them and see if like maybe that brings up one that you want to type in. Yes. Keep it up. Keep them coming. Okay. All right, gang. I'll give you another minute to finish writing down your thoughts and your words that on my whiteboard. Okay. Cool. So gang, you should be able, can everyone see me in like the corner of their screen? Or like me talking, or can you only see my whiteboard?
We can
Whiteboard.
see you.
You can see me as well? Cool.
I can see you, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, so gang, that works out. That means I don't have to like pause the whiteboard and talk about this. As long as you can see me a little bit, I can see the whiteboard enough that we can make this work. Okay. So tonight we're looking at the PSIA fundamentals. And when we look at the PSIA fundamentals, a lot of people think of what we call the technical fundamentals, which is true.
Okay.
There's 5 of them. It's how our body connects to our skis, right? And how we how we move or direct our skis in the ski to snow interaction.
Maybe. This will probably be over early.
And so with that being said, there's a whole nother aspect of skiing, and it all PSIA, it all started down in actually in Argentina in 2014. Down there, they started promoting that teaching skills were different than people skills. And so there are separate fundamentals. So now we have what's called the learning connection model. And the learning connection model is like a triangle, right? Okay. And it has the technical fundamentals of skiing, which includes the 5 fundamentals, right? This is what we're going to talk about eventually. But then it also includes people skills and teaching skills. And we were one of the first in our industry of skiing to separate teaching skills and skiing, or people skills and teaching skills. And so what I want to do before we talk about the physical aspects of skiing is let's have a chat. I'm gonna share with you, right? So we have people skills, which is how we connect to people, and then how we teach people how to learn is a separate set of skills, teaching skills. Okay, so let's go through real quick, and I'm gonna try to circle these as we go. Okay, I'm gonna pick a different color. We're gonna pick red. Okay, and we're gonna have a little chat about each of these. So what I want you to do is I want you to unmute your microphone, and we're gonna talk over each other, and that's just how it is. They'll be fine. We'll figure it out. Okay, but let's look at, and I can kind of guide us through here. Okay, so demonstration is a word here, right? And where would you put demonstration? Would you put it under a teaching skill, a people skill, or a technical, like how we move our body in relation to our skis?
How we move our body.
How we move our body in relation to our skis. Okay, so we're gonna call the ski performance, right? Is gonna be red. So that's gonna be kind of our fundamentals. Okay, so demonstration. That's part of skiing. That's part of, and I'm gonna say that it's also part of teaching. And we're gonna make teaching yellow. Right, so I'm gonna make this one. It's gonna be half green and half red and half yellow, because it's skiing skills and it's also teaching skills. Okay. What about this next word, communication? Where would you put communication? Would it be a teaching skill, a people skill, or a physical how we move skill?
Teaching and people.
People.
Teaching and people. Awesome.
The first two.
Yeah, the first two. So that would be we're gonna make that one. Well, we don't have to circle them all down, but that'd be teaching skills, and then we go to green. We'll have a second color. Okay, that'd be that one. Okay. What about practice? Where would you put practice? Be a teaching skill, a people skill, or a physical, like how we move skill?
All of them.
All of them. Okay. So practice kind of encompasses all of them. We're gonna say all of them. We're gonna say all of them is gonna be purple, just because that's purple and that just makes sense. Okay. Sure. What about understanding? Where'd you put understanding? Would that be
People skill.
a what?
People.
People skills. Okay, a people skill. How now? Expand on that a little bit more. Why would you say understanding is a people skill?
If you're trying to teach them something, you have to understand their particular skill level and how to translate what you're trying to teach them to their.
Cool, right?
Yeah.
So we have to understand their background, their experiences, and maybe their goals and where they want to be, right? Absolutely. So understanding kind of goes in with all of them a little bit, right? We have to understand who they are. We have to understand how they move, right?
Understand how they learn.
And how they learn. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Um, let's look at another random word. Let's look at flexibility. Flexibility.
I mean, that's movement.
Movement. Okay. We're saying that's movement. That's going to be red.
Everywhere.
Okay, and you say everywhere. Why? Expand on that a little bit more for me.
You better be flexible in how you communicate. You better be flexible in how you teach. You better be flexible in how you move. Got it.
Yeah, it's got to be kind of everything, right? Okay. We'll add yellow just to make it all part of the whole thing. Okay, or it's purple now, so that's fine. Okay. What this comes down to, gang, when we look at all of our words here, okay, demonstration, communication, patience, understanding, fun, discovery, learning, inclusivity, empathy, perspective, equipment, knowledge, kind, social group, they all are going to fit into one or more of those three categories. Okay. Now I would say most of these are going to go into either the teaching or the people skills. And the reason I say this, and I'd say most of these go into people skills, right? Because this is all, most of them are how we interact with people. And how we interact with people is different than how we teach people to learn. So people skills connect me, the instructor, to the student. Teaching skills connect my student to their desired goal and outcome. Okay, so when I'm the reason I'm going through and having some time with this is a lot of times we get confused and say, oh, well, this is a good teacher and this is a good these are good traits that a teacher has. These are good people skills. That doesn't necessarily mean they're good teachers. Okay? So let's go back real quick. And what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to close your eyes and I want you to imagine like however long ago it was, if it was 2 years ago, last year, 2 weeks ago, or like 40 years ago, right? 50 years ago, I don't know, right? I want you to think back to when you were in school, okay? Or you were learning something new, okay? And so our eyes are closed. Think about like your best teacher, right? Your best teacher, okay? Think about what they did, how they interact, what was really cool about them, okay? Go ahead and open your eyes, right? And let's just share real quick, and you can unmute yourself, right? What were some of your what was your teacher? What was your teacher and what were some traits they had? Good teacher.
Compassion.
They had a passion. Okay.
Compassion also.
Compassion as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fun.
They were fun. Okay, what else?
So in my case, it was a very technical subject, and the instructor having multiple different ways of explaining the topic really helped instead of just trying trying to repeat themselves in the same way over and over.
Nice. Right. So there's some quality where there is like a relationship building, right? There is some like, hey, I'm gonna work with you and I'm gonna make this, in the words of like Dr. Seuss, I'm gonna make this like youer than you. Right. I want to make it like this is for you. Right. And they're gonna help you out. So there's some like individuality or like uniqueness to it. Okay. What else? What are some other traits that that good teacher had?
I think being able to maintain positivity is good too. Where like if I wasn't getting something, they'd be like, no, hey, it's cool, like you'll get it. You know, let's just keep going. And again, whoever just spoke that said that finding different ways to explain it. I feel like combining those two is really helpful to like kind of maintain the flow of learning.
Yeah, right. And what I'm getting at is what made that teacher good was his people skills. Right? It wasn't his teaching skills, it was the fact that they related to you and they made it unique to yourself. Right? So now let's go the other way. So now let's close our eyes, right? And I want you to think back however long ago it was, okay? And I want somebody else that we haven't heard from yet to like speak up, right? But this time we're going to think about like the worst teacher you've ever had, okay? Think about some traits that they had that didn't jive well with you, that didn't set you up for success. I mean, think about some words that you might use to describe that. Okay.
They didn't care.
What?
They did not care about what they were doing.
They didn't care. They were in it for the paycheck, so to speak, right? They're above it. Okay. So they didn't care. They didn't show compassion. There's no compassion for you. What were some other things that teacher maybe
Shaming.
Shaming. Okay, so there's some shaming, right? Okay, so shaming, not being compassionate. Okay, what else?
They
They weren't
weren't,
knowledgeable.
Okay, they weren't knowledgeable, so they didn't have experience or the ability to like expand on different things. Sure. Okay, what else?
they
Stuck.
weren't
They were
engaging.
stuck.
They were stuck. Okay, so they were stuck. They weren't engaging, right? Now all these things. Okay, so Karen, I'm gonna pick on you for a second because I see your name and I know you're unmuted. Okay, so I'm picking on Karen. So what was the subject of your teacher, right? That was a bad teacher. What subject was that for you? Like what were they trying to get you to learn? What were you trying to learn?
Well, it was in skiing,
Okay.
but it was dance.
Okay.
And they just kept telling me that you have to stand taller, you have to stand taller. And I kept asking them, well, I'm only 5'1 1/4. How much taller do you want me to be? And we didn't click as far as trying to understand. It's like, I don't understand. I said, I can try to stand on my tiptoes in my boots, but it's not going to get me much taller.
Right. So it wasn't so, and this is a great example, Karen. That was perfect. It wasn't the fact that like it wasn't a subject that you didn't like. You liked
Correct.
it, and it was something you were trying to learn and be passionate about, that you're still passionate about. However, so it wasn't, it was the fact that their people skills, like they didn't address you as a person. They wanted to teach you how to do it better, but they didn't know how to relate that to you and your experience. They didn't show compassion. They didn't show understanding. They didn't show positivity, right? And
Correct.
so going back again, this shows a lack of people skills and not a lack of teaching skills. Okay. Now, yes, they coincide a little bit, but let's look at people skills. So let's talk about people skills first. What are key things that are some key words that, and we don't have to write them down, we can just talk about them. What are some key words that would describe a good person and people who are good with people?
Empathy.
Empathy, cool.
A good listener.
A good listener. Active listening is huge. Okay, listening to listen, not listening to hear. Listening to like be a part, like attentive listening. Awesome.
Listening to understand.
Listening to understand. I love that phrase. Okay, what else?
Genuine interest.
Genuine interest. Sweet. Cool. What else?
What did you say?
Eye contact.
Eye contact.
Oh, eye contact is huge. You know what? You know what else that reminds me, which is even more important than eye contact, is their name. Right?
Yeah.
How good does it feel when somebody says, "Hey, Ann, I want you to do this," or "Hey, Karen, I want you to do this." Man, that's way better than, "Hey, you over there, come here." Right? That, I mean, stupid, simple things. Okay. What are some other things with people? What are some other things that describe good people?
Kindness.
Kindness. Cool. What else?
Encouragement.
Encouragement. Okay. Encouragement. Encouragement kind of tiptoes the line, I think, of like teaching skills and people skills. Like, I'd say being positive is a people skill for sure. Encouragement could be, but I think that kind of wears two hats, or wears two.
Maybe more positive. Yeah, positive might be better.
What else?
Have you been using your?
Make them feel safe.
I have to use it every 4 hours.
Making
Making them feel safe.
making
they're
them
not-
feel safe. Absolutely.
Can I add to that? A safe environment where you can make mistakes.
A safe environment. So a place where they're comfortable, right? Where they can fail comfortably, right? Which is kind of a weird thing to fail comfortably, right? But failing comfortably. Okay. I love that.
And what we do.
Building trust. Man, who said that? What's your name? Who said building trust?
My name's Jazz.
I didn't get that. I'm sorry, but you said a good thing. Building trust is key. It's so important. And it's even more important with our students in the adaptive world. So building trust. Absolutely. Okay. How do you build trust?
Patience.
Patience. Okay. How else do you build trust?
Consistency.
Consistency. I love that. Okay. How else? There's something else that we talked about in my last, if you were part of my last, we talked about it very briefly about how we build trust.
Well, being a person of your word.
Being a person of your word. Okay. So let's go this way before we get into it too much, before we get into this crazy rabbit hole. What about how do you create a friend? How do you create, like, how do you make a friend? What do you do?
Be
Be
a
a
friend.
friend.
Okay, you talk to them. What else?
Common ground. Common interest.
ground. Absolutely. Okay, so we got to find common ground. How do we find common ground?
Ask questions.
Okay, you ask questions. What else do you do?
Listen.
Listen.
Okay, what else?
Just talk with them.
Okay, who said listen? Which one of you ladies said listen?
That was Angelica.
Angelica. Okay, Angelica, you're gonna be my student for a second, okay? I'm gonna be your instructor. So Angelica, is this your first time skiing today?
Yes.
Oh, it is. Are you really excited to go skiing? How you feeling about it?
I am excited. I'm gonna go to the top of the mountain and ski all the way down. It's gonna be awesome.
Awesome, that's cool. And have you ever skied before?
Maybe like once a long time ago.
Maybe like once a long time ago. And is there anything else? Like, what do you do when you're not skiing?
I like to play soccer.
Oh, you like to play soccer. Cool. And do you is there anything like I need to be worried about? Like, are you scared of heights, or like did you eat a full breakfast this morning? Any details that I need to know?
I didn't like really sleep very well, and I'm a little worried because I'm afraid I might get cold.
Cool. So I'm gonna pause, time out, right? Okay. So my question for the rest of the crew, did we create a friendship?
A start.
Starting.
Yep.
Starting to? What's missing?
Time.
Okay, time. There's something else that's missing.
Name.
Okay, the name. Yeah, we got the names. There's something else.
You were being more like teacher skills versus people skills. It was very like kind of technical questions.
Okay, but that's what we do as ski instructors, right? Our student comes up and we ask them all these questions about skiing, right? So that's what we do. So my question for you is, did I create a friendship?
You should have said, hey, I like soccer.
Ooh, yeah.
Share something about yourself.
Oh, who said that? Who said that?
Julie.
Julie, that was awesome. You get 5 points, Julie. You gotta share something about yourself. Okay. We are so good at being the interrogator, the investigative reporter, putting our students under the spotlight and just jamming questions into them and saying, hey, we're creating trust in relationships and friendships. BS. When you are talking to your student like that, you are creating a dominant role and a non-dominant role. You are creating I'm the coach, I know everything, you know nothing. Let's meet somewhere in the middle. Now, does that promote comfort and friendship and trust? Or would it be better if I shared information about myself so that they'd be able to trust me in my skill set or in what I'm trying to get them to do? Okay.
I think you need to share about yourself because it needs to be equal on both sides. It can't just be this sort of one-sided question and answer.
Exactly. So it's got to be two-way, right? So
Yeah.
cool. Check this out. I'm going to read to you the PSIA People Skills Fundamentals, and you tell me if you think we've talked about all these and we checked all the boxes off. Okay. So the first box, and if you want to write these down, I highly recommend you write these down. Okay. People skills.
Are we on mute?
Develop relationships based on trust. We got to that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Second box, engage in meaningful two-way communication.
Yes.
Man, we just talked about that like 2 seconds ago.
No, because it was one-way communication.
I gave you a bad example on purpose. Okay. Third box, identify, understand, and manage your emotions and actions. Okay. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about this one here in a second. The fourth box, the last box for people skills, recognize and influence the behaviors, motivations, and emotions of others.
Could you repeat that one?
Recognize and influence the behaviors, motivations, and emotions of others.
No, no, because you didn't really respond to what I was saying during that conversation.
No, and we haven't really talked about that one yet. right? And part of it too, and gang, I'm apologizing ahead of time. We have 26 people, and so I only see 3 names on my screen. So I have no idea who's saying anything. So I'm gonna, sorry, sorry, I may not call you by your name, or I may ask you who's that, because I don't know who that is. All I hear is a voice. Okay. So before we get into that, the best way to remember this: me, you, us, and trust. Okay. When I say me, the third box says identify, understand, and manage your emotions and actions. That means leave your shit at home. If you're sick, not feeling good, you're tired, leave it at home. Just leave everything at home. Leave your drama at your house. Okay. Don't bring it to work. These guys are coming. This is their one experience ever. We want to make sure that it's the best experience. So don't be teaching skiing and trying to like create your shopping list or trying to talk to other people. Give them their time, and you are there. So make sure you're there for you're there for them and their experience as a whole. Okay. The last one, recognize and influence the behaviors, motivations, and emotions of others. This is quite difficult in a Zoom situation because I can only see so many people. But I try, like in this situation, I try to recognize what we're doing and that everyone's a piece of it, right? And that everyone's engaged and wants to learn, right? In adaptive lessons, it's really easy for us because we have one student. So it makes it super simple. Since we have one student, we know and we try to identify their goals and their outcomes and how they're feeling for the day and try to move that forward. Okay. So that, unless we have any other questions, that is on our piece of paper. That is the people skills fundamental of PSIA. We feel like we have like a decent understanding that it's separate from the teaching skills, and we have an basic idea of what good people skills are.
Yes.
Yeah? Cool. Okay. So now let's have a conversation and a chat about teaching skills. So what makes so we know the people is it attaches me to the student or the teacher to the learner, right? Teaching skills attach me and the learner to what they're trying to learn. So what are some good teaching skills or teaching fundamentals, some things that we want to like check off, like my teacher was good at this. They're a good teacher. They did this. What do you think some of those are?
Repeated demonstration.
Repeated demonstration. Okay. So we have repeated demonstration. Okay, what else?
Speak the language that they understand.
Speak the language that they understand. Okay.
So, like versus tipping, it's putting your ski on edge versus trying to use all the technical verbiage.
Okay. Yep. I know exactly what you're getting at. Yes. Yes.
No, paying attention to your student when they need a break or they're struggling.
I'm sorry, I only got the last of it. So when they need a break or when they're struggling, it's like timing.
Like pay attention to them, like listen to them. If they say they need a break, then pay attention to that and don't say, oh, we'll take a break in 20 minutes.
Awareness.
Awareness. Okay. Cool. What are some other things?
Observation.
Observation. Okay, somebody said focusing and
Focusing on one topic at a time or one micro skill at a time.
yeah,
Chunking it.
somebody was in one of my clinics before, focusing on one thing. Power one. Okay, focusing on one thing. Don't confuse the matter. Right? Okay, what
Make
else?
the subject fun.
Make the subject fun. Cool. All right. So I'm going to read to you. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 teaching skill boxes. Okay. Now I'm going through this just because they're pretty unique. And we'll have a chat about them after I list them all out. Okay. Okay, you ready with your pen and paper? Collaborate on long-term goals and short-term objectives. Okay. Box number 2, manage information, activities, terrain selection, and pacing. 3, promote exploration, experimentation, and play. 4, facilitate the learner's ability to reflect upon experiences and sensations. And the last one, adapt to the changing needs of the learner. All right, so let's go back up to the top. What was the first one? What was the first box? Collaborate. What else?
Long-term-
What was
Long-term goals and objectives.
Short-term objectives.
Yeah, and short-term objectives. So, gang, why do you think that would be like, why do you think it's a good teaching skill?
So you're on the same page as the athlete.
On the same page as the athlete, absolutely, right? Something that we want to do is, and the key word here is collaborate. So it's not my goal as the instructor for the student. It's our goal as a team. This is what we want to do. This is what we're motivating to do. And maybe, okay, great example. Maybe you have a kid that's on the spectrum. Okay, he's on the autism spectrum, and he just learned, he hasn't learned how to ski yet. He signed up for lessons. He's super pumped, but he saw Michaela Schifrin ski down the race course, and he wants to be a ski racer and be on the World Cup, but he hasn't skied yet. So his long-term goal is to be on the World Cup, right? But his reality and short-term goals might be something else. It might be to learn how to put his ski boots on, because Michaela Schifrin she has ski boots and she races. And I want to race, so I want to be like Michaela Schifrin. So I want to put my ski boots on the same way she does. Right? Okay. Long-term goal, short-term objective. Another way to describe that, I'm short. I'm 5'4". Okay. If I go up to a ladder and my goal is to get to the top of the ladder, and I cannot reach the first rung of the ladder, I will not leave the ground. I won't. However, if the ladder rung is lower down and it's an easier step for me to do, I will reach the top of that ladder, but I have to make a small step first. Okay. So make sure that when you're looking at long-term goals and short-term objectives, make sure the ladder rung or the objectives are attainable. If the long-term goal is not attainable, make it attainable through short-term objectives. Does that make sense? Okay, moving on. Manage information activities, terrain selection, and pacing. Why do you think that's important?
Well, I mean, the students aren't gonna be able to learn or enjoy themselves if they're over terrain.
Okay, so if they're over terrained, right, then their emotions come into effect. They're not in their comfortable zone. Man, they're not going to learn. What about, has anyone ever been in, okay, a clinic, a ski clinic, or a situation, any situation? I'm using ski clinic because I'm in those a lot, okay? In a ski clinic or in like driving or like in the office, right? And you feel like, man, I really, really need to fart, right? Man, I need to fart. I'm in a public spot. I really need to fart, right? And you like try to hold it in as long as you can because you're not in a comfortable situation. Now, in that situation, we've all been there that are sitting at a hotel, waiting for a reservation at a restaurant, whatever, in public, where you needed to fart and you just couldn't fart, right? Can you think about other things instead of farting? Or do you just like, man, I need to fart? You just, man, you think about needing to fart. Like that's your motivation. That's your world. Another example is, let's say you need to pee really bad. Okay, you need to pee really, really bad, but you still have like 10 minutes until you get to a bathroom. So what do you start doing? You start like doing one of these, and you're like starting to you're trying to move. In that situation, are you going to be able to learn something or take in information? No, because your other needs haven't been met yet. So we got to make sure they're comfortable. And in order to be comfortable, they have to be in an environment that they're comfortable in. We have to set them up for success. We got to make sure that they can take in information and not be closed out and shut it out right away. Okay? So one thing at a time, making sure the terrain is not too steep for them. Okay. What are some other considerations for manage information activities, terrain selection, and pacing?
Ask them about their temperature,
Ask them about their temperature, if they're cold or warm.
right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Ask them about their equipment, if their feet hurt in their boots.
Okay, if their feet hurt in their boots, if there's pain, man,
Yep.
I know, like when I was in ski spec. I'm sure some of you were at ski spec in Breckenridge this year or been skiing on a really cold day. You're not going to take in as much information because your feet are freezing. Or
Right.
maybe you're really hungry. You're like, man, I'm really hungry. Like, and they're talking to you, like, no, I'm hungry. Like, you're not going to do anything until your previous needs are met. Okay. What about this one's manage information? How do you manage information?
Write it down.
Okay, so you write it down. Okay.
You have them repeat it back to you.
Have them repeat it back to me. Sure. Okay.
One step at a time.
One step at a time. Absolutely. Would it make sense if I told you, okay, gang, tonight tomorrow we're gonna go up to Ski Santa Fe, right? And we're gonna do an on snow clinic, and we are going to focus on independently simultaneously rotating both of our legs, and we're gonna try to manage and control the magnitude pressure and our independent leg rotation at the same time. That would get that response, right? It'd be like, you want to do what? Confusion. So I have to be able, and it's hard on Zoom, but I have to be able to teach to the language that they're understanding. Okay. A great example. I did this in my last clinic. I do it in a lot of them, right? If I wanted to teach a baby how to crawl, I wouldn't go, okay, baby, I want you to get on all four your arms are going to be at 90, your legs are going to be at 90 degrees, and they're going to have 90-degree bend. And I want you to move your right arm forward and your left leg forward at the same time, still maintaining 90, and flip that sequence with your other hand and leg, and do that until you get to me. Is that really going to teach a baby how to crawl? Or are they just going to be like, dude, what the hell did you just say? Right? When I actually wanted to teach a baby how to crawl, I'd probably get on all fours and crawl next to them and try to encourage them. Or I'd get, what their favorite stuffed animal or their favorite food and try to coerce them and bribe them to me. Okay. A lot of times I could tell you all day how to ski. I could teach you how to ski right now, and we could talk about it and it'd be cool. You don't know jack shit about skiing until you do it. So one thing that I want to get, like, that I think people should get out of these things is doing and having perspective is better than me telling you. If you experience it, you're going to have more ownership of it. Okay? So the less I say and the more you experience, the better the learning is going to be. We're really good, and in Zoom sessions, it's hard not to be like the dictator. I try not to, but sometimes it just happens, right? Because it's that setting, that environment. But out on the snow, that is not the case. We want them to experience things. Okay. Okay. Promote exploration, experimentation, and play. How do we do that?
Make it a game.
Make it a game. Absolutely. Make it a game. Great example of that. And I have my boot bag here, but in my ski boot bag that I go everywhere with, I have a foam ball. Just a foam ball that they can kick around. It's great for them. They can kick it around. It's great. Okay. So we make it a game. We make it fun. Okay. Gang, I'm trying to get through these so we can get to the ones that we're supposed to cover tonight. Okay. Facilitate the learner's ability and reflect upon experiences and sensations. How do we do that?
Ask them how it felt after they made that first turn.
Ask them how they felt after they made the first turn. Absolutely. Would it make sense for me to go, hey, when I'm skiing and making that turn, this is what I feel. No, because what are they going to say? Oh, I feel that too. Because they want to be just like you, because you're the instructor, you know all. Don't imprint your sensations onto them. Let them discover their own. Now, after they discover their own, I might say, hey, I feel the same way. When I feel that, this is what I do, right? Or maybe let's play with this. Or maybe let's try to feel this sensation here, right? So the more that we can give them that experience and that sensation, the better. Okay. Cool. Adapt to the changing needs of the learner. How often do we do that?
You have to do it all the time.
All the time. Constantly. Every time I introduce a new thing, right? A new skill, a new task, a new terrain, a different turn. Every time I introduce something, or even when I don't, I want to be watching how they're interacting with that task. Whether they're excited, whether they're cold, whether they're scared, whether they can physically do it. I am constantly observing every move they make and adapting and modifying and changing as I think they need. Okay. Great example of that. Somebody coming through, they're trying to learn how to turn to a stop, making a pizza shape. Okay. and they're coming down, they're skiing on the rope tow, and man, they want to be independent. They're on the spectrum. Skis down, he can ride the rope tow, he gets on the rope tow or on the carpet, and he can ski the whole way down independent, but at the bottom there's a bump and he can't walk over that bump, and so he needs help going over that bump, okay, to get back into the lift line. What are some ways that I can adapt and change that so that he could be more independent?
Could redirect him ski away from the bump,
Okay,
take
so
a
I can
little bit
ski-
of speed, go faster over the bump.
Okay, so there, yeah, I can go faster over the bump, right? I can try that. Okay, I can go around the bump if I can. What are some other ways?
Ski the bump with them, have him right.
Okay,
in front of
ski
you.
the bump with
Yeah.
him. Yeah. This is actually a true thing. This happened to me years and years ago. I was helping, and the instructor was doing his thing with this little kiddo, and it wasn't successful. He kept getting stuck at the bottom of the little beginner area.
Yep.
He could do everything else on his own except for this little bump to get back into the line. So you know what I did? I got a shovel and I took the bump away. Right? Like when we talk about adapting to the learner's needs, there's nothing to say that we can't change the environment. Right? We're adapting. I want him to be successful. His goal was to be independent. What do? I take the bump away. He's now independent. Sweet, check, done. Right? And in adaptive thinking, kind of outside the box sometimes is important because it helps us ease. Okay, gang, how are we feeling? Is everyone feeling okay? Is this working out for people? Okay.
Yes.
What I
Yeah,
want
it's
to do.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's good.
Yes.
Okay, what I want to do now, so that was the teaching skills fundamentals and the people skills fundamentals. Okay, so we're gonna like tie the knot and the bow and double knot it and triple knot it and be done with teaching skill fundamentals and people skill fundamentals. Sound good? Okay, let's take what I want to do is just take like a 5 minutes. It is 6:38 my time. I'm going to start again talking at 6:43. Okay. I just want to give you a chance to stretch around, move around before we get into our what we're actually supposed to do is the PSIA skiing fundamentals. Okay. So take your time, relax. I'm going to start talking in 5 minutes. Okay.
Archie, can't you touch it off to the side? And mute it? I was trying to.
You want some more, Emma?
Chat box.
Okay.
I love you, Emma. I love you.
Okay. All right, gang, I don't know if you're all back yet, but we're gonna keep going.
Okay.
So you can see I took away the whiteboard and now you're stuck with my big face in your screen again. So you have to let me know if I have like anything like dangling or hanging, like make sure I'm covered. Okay, they gotta look professional, kind of. Okay. All right, so we're gonna talk now about the PSIA skiing fundamentals. There's 5 of them. Now, before we talk about the 5, what I want to do is have a chat about the body and the ski. So the 2 main elements of skiing are the body, dun, 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 right? Us, right? And our movements, and the skis. Okay. Now, yes, we do have smartphones and smart devices and robots and AI and all this like fancy technology stuff. Okay. However, it is not in our skis. We only have our skis. The only way that we can direct our skis is through our body. So our body is the remote control and our ski is the car. Okay. So let's just have a chat real quick. What are some things? And I want everyone to like unmute and we'll just talk over each other. It's fine. Okay. What are some things that we can do to our quote unquote ski, right? As a popsicle stick, it's going to be our ski. Okay. That we can do to our ski as far as like, what can we make it do?
Flex.
Okay, so it can flex, so it can let me grab this guy, okay? It can bend, okay? So we can bend it. Okay, what else can we do to our ski?
Put an edge.
Tilt it on edge.
Okay, we can tip it on edge this way, right? So we can tip it on edge and flatten it. Okay, so we can bend it. We can put it on edge. We can flatten it. What else?
Pressure.
We can go down the hill or we can go across the hill. So
Okay, we go
there's
down or across the hill.
directionality.
Okay, What about, so somebody said pressure. Who said pressure?
Mark,
Mark, okay, keep going on pressure. So expand on that a little bit for me.
well, when you put the ski on an edge, you can press down on it, make it flex a little bit and apply pressure to it.
Okay, so we're talking bending, so you can bend the ski.
And if we put pressure on it, you can make it go forward.
Okay, and then if you put pressure on it, you can make it go forward. Okay, okay, cool. Sweet. Does everyone have this is a cool conversation. Does everyone have a ski boot with them?
Yes.
Cool. Put it on.
Where's mine? Who didn't?
Okay, so we're putting our ski boot on. Okay, oh, I gotta find the right match. My ski boot is kind of hard to put on. Yeah. Okay, there's that one.
Charlie, I can't find my ski boot.
Oh, that stinks. You don't have to find your ski boot, but if you can, you're like I said, it's better for you to experience some of this stuff.
It's Bobby Palm. I can't find my ski boot.
Bobby, get your freaking dude. Ow. Mine is really uncomfortable right now. Okay, so once your ski boot is on, I'm having issues with mine at the moment. I'm fighting it. Okay, once your ski boot is on, what I want you to do, I'm going to keep putting mine on. It takes me a little bit. Okay, is I want you to stand up. Okay, and we were talking about being forward. Okay, allowing your ski to move forward down the hill. Okay, so what I want you to do is, so with your ski boot on, okay, lean forward and tell me if you moved. So lean forward and tell me if you moved.
It's more of a weight shift.
No.
Okay, it's more of a weight shift. Okay.
It moves the pressure to the front of the boot.
Yes.
Okay. I'll buy into that for sure. Moves pressure to the front of the boot. Okay. What else does it do? Does it move the ski, or does something else move the ski?
Well, gravity's going to move the ski.
Ah, bingo. Okay. So gravity, right, or the pitch of the slope is going to move my skis down the hill.
Yes.
If I just stand on a flat slope and I push forward, or I push forward and close my ankle, flex my ankle, right? Drive my shin into the cuff of the boot. That doesn't do anything for moving my ski down the hill. My ski moves down the hill because there's a hill.
Correct.
It moves down. It goes down the hill. If I stand and I press into my shin, my foot doesn't move. Therefore, I can't move my ski. Remember, my ski doesn't have AI. It's not smart. I'm the driver. So I have to drive them where to go. I can't take them where to go. Like I can stand and I can skate and I can walk forward, right? But that's me. That moves other things than just pressing my ankle or pressing my shin against the front of the boot. Okay. So we know that we talked about we have the ski's ability, the ski can flex, right? The ski can tip. Okay, and now we know that for it to go, it has to be on a hill or an incline, a pitch, for my skis to slide without me like physically moving my body to move my skis. What else can we do to the ski or the skis?
Rotate it.
We can rotate it. Karen is on it, so it can be twisted. Okay, so we have twisting, we have flexing, we have tipping. Wait, in the world of humans, right? Our body movements, no matter what we're doing, can be narrowed down to a combination of 3 movements: flexing and extending, rotating, and tipping. So that's how we direct our ski. Or if we're the remote and the ski is the car, that's how we drive the skis. So my question for you, what parts of your body rotate? Let's do rotation first. What parts of your body can rotate?
Your torso.
Hips.
Okay, my hips can rotate. Cool, what else?
Shoulders.
Shoulder, yeah, rotator cuff. That thing.
Your feet.
Ankles.
Your feet, what else?
Torso.
Torso, what else?
Your head.
Your head.
Wrists.
Ankles. And your knees.
Ankles, yeah.
No, knee
Wait,
doesn't.
hold on. Who said knee?
I did.
Knee.
Sally.
Hey, man, I don't know about you guys, but if my knee rotates, that means I'm going to the hospital.
Okay.
I don't want to go to the hospital. I want my leg to rotate and I want my knee to bend. Okay, so now when we look at rotation, right? So we look at rotation for something to rotate, it has to have something to rotate against. Okay, so go like this. Okay, put your arm, like you do this sitting, put your hands like this. Okay, what I want you to do is go ahead and rotate your shoulders as if you're skiing, right? Rotate your hands as you're making turns. Okay, and tell me what else is turning besides your hands?
Elbow.
Your arm, what else?
Shoulders.
Arms and shoulders. Okay, now when you do this with your hands together, notice that let's look at our right hand, okay? And tell me if your right hand turns and your left hand, if they turn the same size circle, or if one turns a bigger circle.
The torso.
Your outside turns a bigger circle.
Okay, the outside turns a bigger circle. Cool, so outside hand turns a bigger circle, and my shoulders rotate. Okay, just remember that. Okay, now take your hands and put them shoulder width. Okay, now rotate your hands. Do you feel a difference?
Both rotate the same.
Okay, the hands rotate the same. Ooh, that's different than this one. Hands rotate the same. Okay, what else? What else did you notice in this one versus this one?
I mean, I don't know, my hands actually rotate differently.
You have
So
more
they
range of
rotate
motion.
more to the outside than to the inside.
Okay, so here they rotate differently. Here they rotate the same. Okay, what about your arms and your shoulders? We know our arms and shoulders rotate in this one. What about in this one?
They're more stationary.
Not as much. Okay, so this is one of the reasons. When I have my feet together or my hands together, they rotate as one unit. So since it's one unit, I need something to turn them better, to make it easier. So what do? I turn my shoulders. When I have two separate connection points, I can rotate my hands at the same time and my leg, because I'm rotating essentially, if we were thinking about skiing, I'm rotating my right leg against my left leg. Okay. Do this, stand up for me. Okay. All right, yeah, so we're standing here, okay. And what I want you to do is lift one foot up in the air and turn the foot that's in the air. Okay.
I think it's like getting out of the.
How was that? Was it easy to turn your foot that was in the air?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I got to like unbury my bag. Looking for something. Where is it? Okay.
Got that?
All right, a little bit more. Hold on, I gotta turn this a little bit more. Okay, more slanted. Okay, can everyone see my foot? My white ski boot and my black shoe? Okay. So on the floor, I just put a furniture slider. It allows me to rotate.
Other one, yes.
Okay. So now, if I stand both feet on that slider, and I go to rotate, what do you think is gonna happen?
Okay, Dad.
What other body parts do you think are gonna rotate besides my feet?
Your
Your
hips.
hips,
My hips, right?
shoulders.
Hips and shoulders.
Shoulders.
Now, what do you think is gonna happen when I stand one foot on each slider?
Your upper body should stay still while the lower body moves.
You can be more independent with each feet.
I can be more independent with each foot. Okay. Now, okay, question. What do you think is going to happen if I stand on one leg on one furniture slider? And I go to rotate. What do you think is going to happen?
Nothing. Your body will rotate, but
As far
not.
as rotation, if I go to rotate, do you think just my leg is going to rotate and my foot? Or do you think my hips and shoulders are going to rotate?
Hips and shoulders.
Hips and shoulders are going to rotate. Okay. So that tells me that when I look at rotation, okay, when I look at rotation, what it says is that I'm not rotating against the ground because I took that out of that. Right? If I was rotating against the ground, then when I picked one foot up and I went to rotate my leg, my hips wouldn't move. But my hips and shoulders move, which means that I need something else to turn off of, to turn around, to turn against. In skiing, I use my right leg to turn against my left leg. That works. You ever try skiing on one ski? It's hard. It's really difficult. Right? If you haven't, go and try it. It's really hard. Okay. To do like a hockey stop with one leg in the air. Oh, insanely difficult. Really good for your skiing though. Okay. So we have rotation. Okay? Now, so we have rotation. Now, more ideal rotation, correct, would it be more efficient for me as a skier to turn my shoulders to turn my ski? Or would it be more efficient to turn something lower than my shoulders to turn my ski?
Your hips.
Lower. What's lowest?
Your ankles,
my ankles and my feet, right? Yeah. So ideally, when we're looking at skills and these fundamentals, we want them to start as close to the snow as possible. That's the quickest kinetic chain. That's the fastest connection from the remote to the car. Okay. All right. So rotation, we have that. Okay. Now, when it comes to rotation, right, and our ski, okay, this is our ski. Okay, you can't really see it. I've got like really bad light here. Okay. Do we think we want to rotate? If this is my ski, trying to get it here to where it can go. Do we think we want to rotate like from the middle of the ski, from the tip of the ski, or from the tail of the ski?
Middle.
What do you think?
Middle.
The middle. Yeah. Yeah, we want the rotation to come from as close to the middle as possible. Cool. So confirm we want rotation to come from the lower body, separate from the upper body, and we want it to come from as close to the snow as possible. Cool. Okay. The other one we talked about was tipping, right? Tipping our skis on edge. Tipping them over. So what body parts do we have that tip?
Ankles,
Okay, ankles tip. Yep, ankles definitely tip.
hips,
Your hips.
shoulders, head.
Shoulders, head. Yeah.
Yes.
So in our last conversation, we talked about tipping from the lowest point closest to the ski. So in tipping, right, or rotation, in tipping, what's the lowest point to tip our skis in our body that we have? What's the fastest control to the car?
Our knees.
Ankles?
Our knees and ankles. Yeah. So our feet, knees, and ankles. Okay. And it's this move. Okay. Can we, what happens when you're skiing, right? When you're skiing and you ski like this, you ski as like one unit. Okay. Are you going to be able to like stay in balance, or are you going to like fall over?
Are you talking about both skis being like attached, touched together?
Yeah, like so you're standing
Like
up.
the-
Okay, so if I stand up,
The old style parallel where your skis are right next to each other?
yeah. So if I stand up here, and I'm gonna move my camera a little bit better so you can maybe see my feet and legs a little bit, but I want you to see my upper body as well. Okay. And if I do this, right, and I lean like this, I'm gonna keep falling over.
Right.
Do this. Go in your house. Okay. What I want you to do is find a doorway. Okay. Go stand and find a doorway. And I want you to like lean everything. Okay. Stand in the middle of the doorway and lean everything until your right shoulder touches the doorway. Okay. Here, I'll see if I can demo as best as I can. Just like that. Okay. Standing in the middle of the doorway. And the doorway catches me. Okay. What do you think would happen if the doorway wasn't here? I would fall, right?
Right.
Okay. So I would fall. Now when you do that, and we're falling on our right shoulder, okay? Does your weight say, do you feel more weight on one foot over the other? And if so, which foot? We're falling on our right shoulder. Which foot do you feel?
You're right.
On your
Right.
You'll go to your right foot, okay?
Right.
And correct me if I'm wrong, our body is one unit, so it's going like this. Right, so it's one line. Okay, so now what I want you to do is go into that right side again, but this time I want your hip to hit the wall and not your shoulder.
Oh.
Okay, so what do you feel? What's the difference? What do you feel it's different when you go and you lean against the doorway and your hip hits, but not your shoulder?
You have to rotate your body,
Okay,
your
you have
upper
to
body.
rotate your body a little bit.
There's a lot of
Seems like
flexion in there's a lot of flexion in your ankle.
There's a lot of flexion in my ankle. Yep, there's definitely a lot of flexion in my ankle.
It seems like the shoulders are more level though.
Ooh, the shoulders are more level. That's awesome. So in skiing, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. If this is the slope, okay, we're gonna pretend it's really steep. Okay, that's the slope. Okay. As a skier, do I want to be a tree or do I want to be a skier?
Skier.
Okay, so if I want to be a skier and the slope is like this, where do I want my shoulders to be in relation to the slope?
Towards the slope.
I want them to match it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Same with my hips. Okay. So when I'm looking at tipping, okay, it is the sense is to control tipping through a combination of inclination and angulation. So leaning everything or leaning parts of my body to the inside of the turn and then creating an angle to keep myself centered. Okay. So when I go back to here, okay, let me adjust adjusting my video again. Okay. So I'm here. When I go with my shoulder, tell me this. When I go with my shoulder, do I stay inclinated or is there some angles?
Inclinated.
I stay
No angles.
There's no angles, right? It's one line. Okay. And when I'm going on my right shoulder, my weight is on my right foot.
Correct.
Okay. Now, if I fall and I go hit, okay, am I inclinated or is there angles?
Angles.
There's angles.
Angles.
So since there's angles in my hip, my shoulders are now square. They're where we want to be. Okay. But now check this out. You guys should go and feel this. Where's your weight now? Which foot is it on? Is it on your right foot or your left foot?
Right.
Your right foot.
It's still the right.
On the right?
Yeah. No?
Left.
Left. Yeah, it should be on your left foot. When I fall, I touch my hip. Here, let me adjust my screen again so you can see this. Okay. Inclinating. Shoulder first. Bam. I can pick this foot up.
Right.
Chances with it, right? Karate kick. No. Okay. When I go hip first, I can karate kick this one.
Huh.
Yeah. It's really hard to kick the other one.
Oh,
We feel that?
okay.
Okay. So if I'm angulated and have that angle right there,
Okay.
That puts weight on my opposite foot. That's all we need to know. Okay. Okay. So those are how we control and do our direction. So we tip our skis and we rotate our skis. That's direction. Now, the one we have left is flexion. And the opposite of flexion is extension. Okay? Muscles get shorter and they get longer. They say the same, they can say the same length, but in general, they concentric, eccentric. They get smaller and they get longer. Okay, shorter, longer. Right? Now, with that flexion and extension move, what parts of your body flex and extend?
Ankles, knees,
Muscle.
hips.
Just about everything.
Just about
Where's-
everything.
All your big muscles.
Quads.
Okay, I'm gonna rephrase this.
Yeah.
Just about every joint. Right? Because some joints don't flex and extend. Okay. A great example of that is your rotator cuff. Your rotator cuff rotates. There's no shortening or lengthening of a muscle to do that. It rotates. Okay. Now, the reason I say this, and this is, I know we're volunteers but we're still providing a professional product, is in the world of Charley and Charley isms, right? One of the Charley isms is the power of one. I only change one thing at a time. I don't want to confuse the person. So would it make sense for me to say, okay, I want you to, we're going to work on rotation and steering our ski, and I want you to flex your knees a little bit more because it's going to allow you to rotate. Massive overload of information. Stay in one skill. If you pick rotation, stay and only talk about body parts that do what? Rotate. Now I say this because in the alpine world, we get a lot of people that confuse this very simple idea of, if we're talking rotation, let's talk about body parts that rotate. If we're talking tipping, let's talk body parts that tip. If we're talking flexing and extending, let's talk body parts that flex and extend. Way easier said than done. Okay, so all of our joints flex and extend. Okay, now with flexion and extension, we have this, right? That's what we talked about before. This bending. I can bend my ski. What else can I do to my ski? I can bend it. What else can I do to it?
You can tilt forward or back.
Okay, I can move my weight forward or back on it. Okay, so I can put the pressure to the tip.
Yep.
I can put the pressure in the middle. I can put the pressure towards the tail. Okay, cool. So now we have, I can bend it. I can put pressure on the front. I can put pressure on the middle. I can put pressure on the tail. What else can I do?
Put it on edge.
That's tipping. Remember, we're talking flexion and extension. Sorry, you just got buzzed.
I thought we were talking about flexion. Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about flexion and extension.
Okay.
We can bend. We can direct pressure to the front, the middle, and the tail. What else can we do to it?
Unweight it.
Lift.
Oh, weight it. Okay, cool. Expand on that a little bit. How do we do that?
Lift it off the snow.
You can lift your ski up off the snow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So in flexion and extension, we have three things. Okay. The first one is direct pressure over the length of the ski from tip to tail. Now, let's talk about this for a second. Okay. So we're talking about moving the relationship of our center of mass being our hips, right in our core, in relation to our skis. Okay. So what I want you to do is stand up. We still have our ski boot on, hopefully. Right? My ski boot is still on. Yep, it's there. Okay. Okay. So what I want you to do is in your ski boot, right? I want you to, and if you don't have your ski boot on, that's okay. I want you to stand up and just feel your whole foot when you're standing. Just feel your whole foot. Okay. Move all the things that we're tripping on. Okay. Whole foot. Okay. So now what I want you to do is feeling your whole foot. I want you to move your hips forward, right? Until you feel the balls of your feet and you almost fall on your face, but don't fall on your face. Okay. So whole foot forward till you fall on your face, but don't fall on your face. Okay. And now what I want you to do is go whole foot again and go back until you're almost, and you fall down, so you almost fall down on your butt. Okay. So now let's try to minimize that movement, and let's see if we can like figure out what the range is to go from my heel to my whole foot to the ball of my foot. Just see if you can figure that out. And once you have it figured out, or you think you have it figured out and you felt it, okay, whether your ski boots are on, it doesn't matter. Okay, what I want you to do is tell me how much your hip moved.
A little. Not much.
Not much, just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when we talk about stance and being forward and being backwards and being centered and athletic, how much in reality do you have to move your hips to access the tip of the ski, the center of the ski, and the back of the ski?
None. Few inches.
Few inches max, like not much at all.
Yeah.
Now we've all done this and we get this, okay? I'm going to show you something. And you tell me, right? You tell me what this is. Okay, we're talking about stance and pressure on the length of the ski, okay? All right, so I'm here. You can see my foot, okay? Now I'm feeling centered. I'm feeling my whole foot. And I pick my ski up, or my foot up, and my whole foot comes off the ground, and the ski boot comes up level. Okay?
Right.
Now, what do you think is going to happen when I move my center of mass forward a couple inches? What do you think is going to happen when I lift my ski boot up? Is it
Your
going to
tail should come up first.
My
Yeah.
heel should come up first. Heel comes up
Yeah.
first. Absolutely. What's going to happen when I go the other way?
Your toe.
Hip comes up. Okay. Now check this out. So we know that a centered stance, right? A centered stance means that my ski boot comes up off the ground the same level.
Yep.
Toe and heel, same height, same time.
Yep.
Right? Can we agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, watch. And engage skier stance. When I lift my foot up, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think I'm going to go same elevation, toe higher, or heel higher?
Should be balanced.
Balanced.
How do we balance, right?
First one.
It's gonna come up the same elevation.
Mhm.
Perfect. Okay, now you can kind of see, am I in an efficient stance
No.
or am I working? I'm working.
You're
Yep.
working.
So what I want to do, and people do this, they say, oh, man, I really like the drill of putting a dollar bill, a grape, whatever it is, a coin, a quarter, a dollar, I don't care, right? Between the front of my ski boot and my shin and pressing on it and smashing it. Okay. Well, you tell me, pull my leg up so you can see. Okay, we'll try to get closer here. Like I am jammed. Cranking on that. I'm centered. There's nothing there. There's a gap there. You can see my fingers disappear. Okay. Go to the front, they disappear. Okay. In the front, I can't get them there. I'm pressed against the front of my boot. Right. Now, when I pick up, whole foot comes off the ground. That means I'm centered. But am I efficient? No, because I'm using all this muscle to hold myself up. So what I want you to do, inappropriately, right? Part of my job is to create memorable things. Okay? Is I want you to take that dollar bill, the quarter, the grape, whatever it is you were smashing, the bug, right? And I want you to put it between your butt cheeks and hold it and squeeze it with your butt cheeks. Okay? Because now look, we're gonna see a difference here. Let's see if we can adjust this again. Okay. Right there. Okay, that's pretty good. All right. So now watch my hips. So I was like this before. Okay. That's whole foot comes off. See? Whole foot. Okay. Now I'm centered, but I'm not efficient. If I want to be efficient, I take that grape or whatever, and I go like this. I go, and I hold it between my butt cheeks. It gives my core tension. When I have core tension, now I'm feeling my whole foot. I've got the grape between my butt cheeks, and I've got a grape on my shin. I'm doing real good. Now, watch what happens when I release. This is my hips. Watch what happens when I release that grape. And go for it. Stand up. Okay. Stand up in your ski boots. Okay. And play with it. Go. Okay. I'm centered. Whole foot comes off the ground. Right. I'm over flexed. Whole foot comes off the ground. And then I go. And I suck in and have a nice core tension. Whole foot comes off the ground. Man, I'm more centered now. Okay. But once I go like this, watch. This is cool. Once I go like this, I go. And I lose my tension, watch what happens. It comes up differently. Okay. When we look at stance and flexion and extension, okay, a lot of people, they think of this. Forward. And they put their hands in front and they stick their butt out. Well, when I do that, that means I stay the same. If I go forward, now I'm forward. Here, I'm centered. Okay. So when we talk about being forward, it's being forward with this and not with that. Okay. Okay. Questions on fore and aft? We good on that one?
Yep.
This is another tough one. I can also, so we use those movements, we use our joints to control fore and aft. Okay. What joints do you flex to move forward?
To move forward would be your abs.
Your abs?
Because if you flex your knees, you flex you're gonna move backwards.
Okay, so I'll sort of agree with the knee thing. Knees move our center of mass down. Okay, so if I only flex, so do this. Okay, get up out of your chair. Okay. And what I want you to do is only flex your knees. You go back and down.
Your hips.
So if I only flex my knees, I go back and down. Okay. So if I want my center of mass to go back and down, what do? I flex my knees. How do I move my center mass forward?
Ankles.
Send it the hips.
Yeah, with your hips.
No, somebody said
Ankles.
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 Yeah, you got to move your ankles, right? So now that's essentially what I was doing when I was here before. Okay. If I go forward, I go forward, center, back. That's all ankle flexion, ankle extension. That's all ankle movements. Okay. So ankles move my center mass forward. Knees, if I flex my knees, my center mass goes back and down. What happens if I flex my ankles and my knees? Where does my center mass go?
You squat, you go down lower.
Go down lower. Okay, so follow me here. Center mass goes forward. I want to flex my ankles. Center mass goes back and down. I want to flex my knees. Center mass goes down. I flex my ankles and my knees. So if I want my center mass to go up, what do?
Extend the same joints.
I extend the same joints. Awesome. Okay. So now we know and we have an idea of, man, I use my body, my ankles. My ankles control a lot. Right? Like forward, center, back, lower. Okay. That's how our body moves to create those. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to close fore-aft pressure. And we're closing that one. Don't worry, I'm going to tell you what the 5 fundamentals are eventually. We're just talking about it now. Okay. The next one is kind of tricky. So can you, everyone do this. Everyone go and stand on one foot. Stand on one foot for me. Just balance on one foot. Okay. Okay, now balance on the other foot. Okay. What body movements did you do to create that? Like, what'd you do?
Tighten up the butt cheeks.
Shift your weight.
You tightened your butt cheeks, you shifted your weight. Okay. Right. So correct me if I'm wrong. So we're talking flexing and extending, correct? Do you have to always flex your right leg and left leg, or your right ankle and your left ankle and knee the same all the time? Or can you do one or the other?
No, one or the other. One or the other.
You can do one or the other. Okay. So one of the other ones with flexing and extending or bending the ski is the ability to manage ski to ski pressure or foot to foot pressure and direct pressure to the outside ski. Right? Because we want more force or more contact with our outside ski. So that's one of them. And we do that by flexing and extending one leg versus the other leg. That makes sense? Okay, I see some like, yeah, kind of. Best way to think about this, okay, is put your hands on the table. They are on your desk where your thing is, okay? And what I want you to do is I'm gonna go up like this. So I'm gonna stand up, okay, or stand up. So my hands are on the table, and I can go like this and move my weight to one hand. And I can go like this and move my weight to the other hand. Okay, so I'm extending one and flexing the other. Extending one. Now I can do that with my legs. Okay. Directing pressure to the outside ski. The last one of flexing and extending is one that's kind of tricky. This one is the part of, and I think somebody mentioned, I think maybe it was Richard. Richard might have mentioned this, is the pulling up, right? The pulling up of our skis. Okay, or how much like we do. Okay, and that one is called magnitude of. And the best way to think of it, there's two ways that I'm going to describe magnitude of. Okay, I want you to go like this with your hands. Okay, and your top hand, okay, is the skis and your body, and the bottom hand is the ground. So your skis can leave the ground and come back. Okay? You can push your skis down on the ground, or the ground can push up on your ski. Okay? Another way to think about this is a trampoline, right? Now, it might have been yesterday, it might have been 40 years ago, but we've all at some point in our life attempted to jump on a trampoline. Okay. So when you're jumping on a trampoline, or you can imagine this, or maybe grandkids or whatever, okay, you're jumping on the trampoline. Now you can bounce and you can bounce and your feet can leave the tramp. Okay, they can leave, they go there, right? Or you can jump and you can be like, man, I'm gonna try this. And you can try to keep your feet in contact with the trampoline as it goes down. Okay. And so you're pushing as hard as you can to try and make it. That's magnitude of. Okay. So it's how our ski to snow interaction is. Okay. So I know that we covered a lot of stuff there. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tell you what the skiing fundamentals, you know how we have the checkbox, you write in your paper, you're going to write these down. Okay. These are the words, and we'll afterwards we'll have a chat about if we've covered these and have a good understanding of them. Okay. So the first one, okay, remember we talked about flexion, extension, or flexing, rotating, and tipping. Okay, those are the three kind of things we talked about, the body movements. Okay, so the first fundamental is to control the relationship of the center of mass, to the base of support to direct pressure along the length of the skis.
Can you repeat that again?
I'll repeat all these multiple times.
Okay.
Control the relationship of the center of mass to the base of support to direct pressure along the length of the skis. Okay. The second one is to control pressure from ski to ski and direct pressure towards the outside ski. The third one, control edge angles through a combination of inclination and angulation. The fourth one, control the ski's rotation, leg rotation, separate from upper body rotation. The last one, to regulate the magnitude of pressure created through ski to snow interaction. Okay. So my question is, do you think in our conversations we covered those 5 things?
Yes.
Do you have an understanding of how they work? Okay, this is cool. This is like the bonus extra credit. Okay. That was all talking about alpine. We didn't talk anything about adaptive. However, correct me if I'm wrong, underneath the biski, there's skis connected to the snow, correct? Underneath the monoski, there is a ski connected to the snow, correct? Somebody who's 3-tracking, there is a ski connected to the snow. Somebody who's in a slider, there is a ski connected to the snow. Okay. In all of what we do, there is ski to snow interaction. That doesn't change. In our bodies flex, extend, rotate, and tip, right? Can somebody who comes in a wheelchair, okay, they come in with I'll make it easy for you, the first one. They come in and they're pushing their wheelchair, okay? Can parts of their body flex and extend?
Yes.
Yes.
Can parts of their body rotate?
Yes.
Can parts of their body tip?
Yep.
So therefore they can ski. The only thing that changes is the origin and power in which that movement is created. Now, going back to our rotation, do we want our feet to rotate first? Or do we want our shoulders to rotate first as stand-up skiers?
Feet.
Feet. We want it to be as close to the snow as possible, right? That's the shortest connection from the controller to the car.
Right.
Okay. How do you think that translates to somebody who's in a wheelchair?
They might have to move their shoulders or their head.
Or whatever's closest, right? Whatever's
right.
closest.
What they are able.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what they're able to use and the closest thing they have the ability to use will give us the best efficiency or the best like control, right? Shortest chain from the control to the car. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. Gang, I will say this, it is 7:40. Okay. If you have questions, comments, or concerns, my presentation is over. I'm going to let it open. If you have questions, comments, and concerns about anything we talked about, this is your time. You can either chat, you can either unmic yourself or unmute yourself and talk and ask us, or you can leave it in the chat box.
Can you repeat number 3 and 5?
Number 3 and 5 for the skiing fundamentals?
Yes.
Okay. Number 3, control edge angles through a combination of inclination and angulation. Number 5, regulate the magnitude of pressure created through ski to snow interaction. And Jennifer put it on the chat. So there's a link to the 5. There's a link in the chat. You can just click it. And that goes to the skiing fundamentals, not the people and teaching skills fundamentals that we also talked about.
Okay.
I have a question. First, thank you. That was very fun. I like having on one ski boot. I wonder, I think like I find myself challenged to think of, I find these concepts can be hard to explain, especially like outside ski, making turns, maybe like thinking of good examples of ways I might exemplify or share this information with someone, given those other 2 posts of the triangle that we were talking about. So I wonder if Charlie, for those, I'm a new person, so I will always be like an assistant. And I'm
Yep.
sure I'll learn a lot from the first people that are going to be showing me their skills. But are there some websites or videos that you like that give some really great examples of bringing these concepts to life?
Yes and no. PSIA, the Snow Pros website, has a few.
Okay.
But my thought on it is education in general, right? So I could tell you all about these parts and pieces, but the best way for you to learn it is through perspective. And typically what I try to do is in the way your brain works, you're going to remember the first thing I told you and the last thing I told you. The shit in the middle, you're not going to remember. That's why they call it a shit sandwich, right? You give, hey, you did this good, you did this bad, you did this good. Forget about the bad, you remember the good, right? Okay. So aside from like the shit sandwich, right? What I try to do is I try to get you the perspective. And one of the best ways to feel and to work with this perspective and to feel this is to go to the extremes, right? So an example, what did we do for inclination and angulation? We leaned and we fully inclinated. And we realized, man, that is not contemporary skiing. That is not like, I'm going to fall on my face. And I don't want to fall on my face. I want to stay upright. So what do? I create angles to do that. So the more that we can create that like negative, positive, negative, or like this extreme, like kind of like what they call the Goldilocks periodium, where you go like porridge is too cold, porridge is too hot. Where's my middle? So you try to find the middle, but in order to do that, you have to know where the boundaries are. So I'd say explore the boundaries and let them kind of dial it in. Outside of that, if you Google like, hey, what are good things, to do? The other thing is if you think like, hey, maybe I should try this, go try it on yourself and see if it works and be like, oh man, that is not what I wanted to feel. Cool, sweet. That was a sensation I don't want to feel again. Or maybe when I do that, I want to do this. I've taught skiing for a long time. And one of my rules is I try to use every snowflake. And so I'm trying to like challenge every snowflake. Like, man, if I'm on a catwalk, I'm lifting one ski up, I'm playing with some movements. Like in skiing, there's always room for improvement, which is awesome. And the best way to like learn how to do it is to go and put yourself in your ski boots and say, okay, let's try this and see what that sensation is. Was it a sensation I liked? Cool. Was it a sensation I didn't like? Cool. How can I change it to something that I like? That feels good.
Okay, thanks so much for the discussion. I think it gives us a lot to think about when we're out there on our skis and to try some new things.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you, Rich. And like I said, sorry for the Zoom. The Zoom it's a tough element. One of these days, or maybe this season, or maybe next season, we'll do it on snow, and it'll be similar but different.
Okay.
Thank you, Charlie. Thanks for being here tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thanks, Charlie.
Good night.
Thank
Charlie, stay
you.
on for a second.
Right,
Yeah,
Charlie.
I'm staying on.
Okay.
I was told not to leave.
Are you seeing the record controls there?
Yes, I am.
Phil? Okay, so whenever you want to stop recording, go ahead.
Stopping recording. Okay.